I want to talk about something that could change the way you step into this new year. Have you ever wondered, why do we keep doing the right thing the wrong way? Hear me out, children of grace and questionable decision makers. Welcome to DearChoice, where we overthink on purpose. And since you're here and I'm here, let's talk. Wait, who's that? Who is it? Oh, one overthinker spotted. Come in here. Today, my fellow overthinkers, I want to talk about something that could change the way you step into this new year. A guiding principle that, if you hold it firmly, could save you frustration, burnout, regret, and disappointment. Have you ever wondered, why do we keep doing the right thing the wrong way? Because this is where many of us get confused. You can be insightful and still be reckless. You can be intelligent and still be impatient. You can be spiritually aware and still make decisions that cost you more than you planned to pay. Insight tells you something is happening. Wisdom tells you how to move without destroying lives, including your own. And one of the clearest examples of this is found in the story of the three wise men in the Bible. I'm sure we are all familiar with this story. These were not random men, right? Wandering through the deserts, no. These were men of insight. These were men who studied the stars. They studied the sun. They studied the moon. They studied seasons. They studied history. They also studied prophecy. These were men of insight. These were men who knew what they were doing. They were not just regular men who were herding sheep. These were astrologers. They were scholars, men who could read patterns in the heavens and connect them to events on earth. So when a new, strange, undeniable star appeared, they knew immediately this is not ordinary. This is not small. Something eternal has entered time. They understood prophecy quite alright. They knew about the coming Messiah. They knew this sign meant a king had been born. So they picked up their gifts, each to his own, and they moved. Because when you see a sign as huge as that, you better move. Now, here's where the story becomes uncomfortable, because this is where we look like them. As they traveled, the star disappeared, and that disappearance was not a mistake. If that star had continued shining publicly in the sky, other wise men would have seen it too. Other astrologers, other scholars, other people with power. And the life of Jesus would have been in immediate danger. So God paused the sign to protect the promise. But the wise men didn't understand that pause. And when you don't understand a pause, the next thing is for you to rush. Instead of waiting, instead of discerning, instead of moving forward carefully, they entered the city and asked Herod. These men entered the city and asked Herod, innocently, where is the king that has been born? Please, let's pause. These were men who knew history. They knew politics. They knew power. They knew that kings do not like rivals, especially newborn ones. Yet, impatience made them forget what wisdom already knew. And this is how many of us move in life. You hit a roadblock, the sign disappears, the clarity pauses, and instead of moving forward quietly, you ask the wrong authority for direction. You tell people who don't need the information. You explain plans to people who don't need context. You expose visions that require protection, not because you're foolish, but because you are in a hurry. Now, here's the part we miss. The star didn't disappear because the journey ended. It disappeared because the next step required discretion. If the wise men had taken 1 or 2 more steps forward, the star would have reappeared, which it eventually did. Some delays are not denial. Some pauses are not confusion. Some silences are protection. But impatience convinces us that we must do something immediately, even if that something costs lives later. And eventually, the star reappeared. And the Bible says the wise men were exceedingly joyful. Why? Because God will always finish what he starts, even when humans complicate the process. They found Jesus. They worshipped, they gave gifts, and later it was said in the scriptures that an angel warned them in a dream, go back a different way. They obeyed. Of course, they obeyed, but the damage had already been set in motion. And Herod calculated the timeline based on the information they gave him. And every male child born within that period was killed. Jesus survived, but many did not. Many did not. This is because of one thing: impatience. This is the part that people don't like to talk about. The wise men didn't intend harm, but their action still produced it. And this is true for us. You don't have to mean harm for harm to follow. You don't have to intend destruction for consequences to appear. Every decision has a ripple. Every word has weight. Every action has an echo. Call it consequence. Call it cause and effect. Call it spiritual law. But it exists. And anyone who tells you otherwise is lying to you. The impatience of the wise men brought about mourning. Many of us are insightful like the wise men. You know, we see patterns, we see shifts, we know something is changing. But without patience, without structure, without discernment, we overshare plans, we rush decisions, we involve the wrong people, we expose fragile seasons, we mistake urgency for obedience. Wisdom is not speed, never has. Wisdom is timing. So here's the dear choice question I'll leave you with. Are you moving because the sign disappeared? Or are you waiting for wisdom to catch up with insight? Because the star will most definitely reappear. But not everything survives impatience. I'll see you on the quiet part. And since you're here and I'm here, let's continue to overthink together. If this connected with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. For now, bye-bye.